गुस्सा क्यों आता है? That's right. Ghulam Nabi Azad now bears all in an exclusive interview tonight. Also, we'll have why is Rahul Gandhi his target number one? We're going to raise that and more tonight on the news today. But as always, first, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9 this Monday night. The Congress needs surgery, not just prayers, claims Ghulam Nabi Azad in an interview to India Today. Insists Rahul's Chaukidar Chor Hai slogan was a cheap one, which did not have the backing of any senior leader. Lingayat mutt seer accused of raping minors claims conspiracy as he returns to Karnataka's Muruga mutt. Politicians across party lines back the seer. Massive protests break out in Jharkhand's Dumka after a class 12 student Ankita is set ablaze by a stalker Shahrukh. He succumbs to her injuries, calls Grove for death penalty for the accused Shahrukh Hussain. Delhi face-off escalates. AAP MLA sit on all-night dharna in the assembly, are demanding the resignation of the LG and probe into an alleged Khadi scam. Goa police to hand over Sonali Phogat's murder probe to the CBI. Family claims that some politicians were involved in Phogat's death. Reliance Jio reveals its 2 lakh crore rupee 5G plan. Services to be launched in 4 metros by Diwali. Every town in India to be covered by the superfast network by December 2023, claims Mukesh Ambani at the Reliance AGM. Rupee breaches $80 to $1 mark to hit a fresh record low after the US Fed signals more rate hikes. NASA postpones the launch of the Artemis 1 on its maiden mission to the moon due to an engine error. The world's most powerful rocket was planned to lift off on a 42-day-long journey. And at least a third of Pakistan is submerged in water after 2 weeks of incessant rain. Death toll crosses 1,000, lakhs displaced from their homes. But first tonight, 3 days after he dramatically quit the Congress party, Ghulam Nabi Azad has now raised the pitch. The Congress rebel leader has now continued his unsparing attacks on the Gandhis. In an exclusive interview to India Today, Azad claimed the party needs surgeons, not compounders. He described Rahul Gandhi's Chaukidar Chor Hai slogan as cheap and claimed no senior party leader backed the slogan. Azad claims he has nothing personal against Rahul, but says his style of politics is not what the Congress needs at the moment, says he just doesn't work hard enough. Replying to the charge that Azad has betrayed his party that has given him so much, he asked why has the younger generation also left the Congress, referring to the likes of Jyotiraditya Scindia, Jitin Prasad, RPN Singh, among others. Before we head, let's first look at that interview I did earlier today with Ghulam Nabi Azad and his latest target on the Gandhis. Hello and welcome to this India Today special, where we are joined by the newsmaker of the moment. Congress rebel, or the person who's left the Congress creating a storm, Ghulam Nabi Azad joins me. Appreciate your joining us. Ghulam Nabi Azad ko gussa kyun aata hai? Why are you so angry, hurt? I've called you a Congress rebel. क्या है इतना गुस्सा, क्या कि इतना लेटर आपने लिख दिया और राजनीति को शेक कर दिया? You have shaken politics with your letter.
पहले तो मैं बताऊंगा ये this all didn't happen in one day. It took me 9 years long to take this decision.
9 years? You have been thinking about this for 9 years?
Not separate, but to come openly.
You have come out with such strong comments. You have come out against Rahul Gandhi very strongly. You have called him non-serious. You have said immature. You have said he has humiliated you. You have said that decisions are taken by security guards and PAs, that he doesn't work hard enough. You've attacked Sonia Gandhi, virtually saying that remote control model will not work for the Congress party. You've been very personal in your attacks, particularly on Rahul Gandhi.
No personal.
But Rahul Gandhi, when you call him immature, when you call him non-serious?
No, it's not personal. It is in the capacity of the post he was holding, not as a person. I had decided not to speak anything about any individual or against any individual. whatever I had written in the letter, that is the thing of the past.
So you're saying
I had to flag the issues.
ये क्यों जरूरत पड़ी ये 5 पेज की चिट्ठी लिखने की?
मैं खाली चिट्ठी लिखता
जी
तो फिर यही आरोप आते कि सब कुछ दिया और भाग गए लड़ाई के वक्त। कुछ एग्जाम्पल देना जरूरी है कि ये हमने एफर्ट की, ये नहीं हुआ तो अब कोई चारा नहीं था। घर में जब बच्चे इज्जत न करें, एडवाइस न समझे, तो अक्लमंद बड़े का आदमी है घर से बाहर निकले।
पर गुस्से में
ना,
एक तो आप निकल जाए, लेटर की क्या जरूरत थी?
लेटर में तो जरूरत है ना, क्योंकि फिर यही कहते भाग गए। तो हम कहते हम भागे नहीं, हम लड़ना चाहते थे, हमको लड़ाई में दिया नहीं, हथियार ही नहीं दिया। मैं जब हमने ये बताया रहा हूं, मैं जब मिसेस गांधी के हमने कहा दिसंबर 2020 में कि हमें कैंपेन अभी से बनाइए, हम कैंपेन खत्म करें, वो बनी नहीं। लेकिन जहां 80 से मैं स्टार कैंपेनर था, पहले स्टार कैंपेनर नहीं बोलते थे, नेशनल कैंपेन कमेटी। तो अगली जो इलेक्शन में कैंपेन कमेटी बना, पहली दफा 40 साल में आई ड्रॉप फ्रॉम द कैंपेन, नेशनल कैंपेन कमेटी।
क्योंकि उनको लगा कि गुलाम नबी आजाद जो है, इन पर अब विश्वास नहीं किया जा सकता, ये बगावत के तौर पर आए हैं। अब वो सोनिया गांधी और राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ बगावत कर रहे हैं, इसलिए आपको किनारे कर दिया।
अरे मैं बेवकूफ था, लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन था उस वक्त भी मैं
जी।
तो मैं कैंपेन कांग्रेस पार्टी के खिलाफ करता, मुझे जूते नहीं लोग पड़ते। मैं कांग्रेस मीटिंग में जाता तो कांग्रेस के खिलाफ बोलता।
पर इस चिट्ठी में भी आपने कांग्रेस की लीडरशिप स्टाइल पर कई सवाल उठाए हैं। जिस तरह से आपने राहुल गांधी पर नॉन सीरियस, इमैच्योर, इस तरह के जो आरोप लगाए हैं।
अरे प्रेसिडेंट वाइस प्रेसिडेंट वही थे, मैं किसको इल्जाम लगाऊं? वो चला जो रहा है पार्टी और सलाह किसी की मानते नहीं है, कोई एफर्ट नहीं करते हो, किसको ब्लेम करें? लेकिन मेरा पर्पस था, मेरा जो पर्पस था, लेट बी फ्रैंक, कि चिट्ठी लिखी, खत्म, अपना काम करो। लेकिन जो प्रवोक कोटरी ने हमको शुरू किया, फॉल्स स्टोरियां लगानी शुरू कर दी, कैरेक्टर एसेसिनेशन शुरू कर दिया, पूरे हिंदुस्तान के कांग्रेसियों को टेलीफोन शुरू कर दिए, गुलाम नबी आजाद के खिलाफ सोशल मीडिया में स्टेटमेंट दे दो। ये बिसाइड द पॉइंट कि 95% डिड नॉट एग्रीड एंड 95% में एटलीस्ट 80% टेलीफोन में। दिस इज व्हाट एआईसीसी इज डूइंग।
नो, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सीरियस, जो सबसे गंभीर आरोप लगाया गया कि गुलाम नबी आजाद की मिली भगत है मोदी जी और बीजेपी के साथ।
मैंने बताया कि भाई हमें तो गुजरात के बारे में उन्होंने बताया, राहुल जी तो 5 मिनट का भाषण करने के बाद उनके गले से मिल गए और कहा है नो ग्रज अगेंस्ट यू, पार्लियामेंट में। तो वो तो ऑन द फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस ऑन रिकॉर्ड कहा कि आई हैव नो ग्रीवेंस अगेंस्ट यू। तो जब पार्लियामेंट में गले मिले, ग्रीवेंस नहीं है, तो बाहर क्यों चिल्लाते हो?
ये जो चिल्लाने की बात है,
व्हाट इज डबल स्टैंडर्ड? अगर आप भाषण करने के बाद कहा कि ये हो गया, आप जफी मारते हैं, दोस्ती करते हैं, आई हैव नो ग्रीवेंस व्हाटसोएवर अगेंस्ट यू। तो इफ ही इज नो ग्रीवेंस अगेंस्ट यू, then why are you telling A or B you are not fighting? You yourself have no grievance, then what are you fighting for?
नहीं, उसमें एक सबसे जो गंभीर जो अभी पता चल रहा है कि जो चौकीदार चोर है, राहुल गांधी ने स्लोगन दिया था 2019 के चुनाव में, चौकीदार चोर है, और उनका कहना है कि गुलाम नबी आजाद और बाकी जो नेता हैं वो मेरे बात से सहमत नहीं थे, दे वर नॉट विलिंग टू अटैक प्राइम मिनिस्टर। आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर को टारगेट करने के लिए तैयार नहीं थे।
ना, इज रॉन्ग,
सही नहीं है ये।
नो, एग्जैक्ट वर्ड ने कहा कि सीनियर्स का सपोर्ट नहीं मुझे मिला। हम सब ने वन वॉइस, जितने भी सीनियर्स थे, कहा प्लीज टेल अस किस मुद्दे पे हमने नहीं किया आपको सपोर्ट। उन्होंने कहा कि मेरा एजेंडा था चौकीदार चोर है, हाथ खड़े करो जिसने पब्लिक मीटिंग में चौकीदार चोर है। सीनियर लीडर ने हाथ नहीं खड़े किया। तो ये कोई मुद्दा है? ये कोई इलेक्शन मैनिफेस्टो था? ये कोई पॉलिसी थी किस पार्टी की लीडर, कौन सा प्रेसिडेंट ऐसी पॉलिसी बनाए कि सारे वर्किंग कमेटी और कैबिनेट को प्रचार करना चाहे चौकीदार? क्या यही प्रॉब्लम थी?
आप उसे अप्रूव नहीं करते
नहीं
कि किसी
करते।
प्रधानमंत्री
आज
को
भी
चोर नहीं कहना चाहिए था?
अरे एक दफा कहोगे, दोस्त कहोगे, इट कैन नॉट बी इलेक्शन इशू इन एवरी पब्लिक मीटिंग यू स्टार्ट विद चौकीदार चोर है एंड विद चौकीदार चोर है। इज दैट द ओनली एजेंडा? इज द प्राइस राइट नॉट इशू? इज द अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट नॉट इशू? इज द टेकिंग ओवर ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन इज नॉट?
कोई आपके और मोदी जी की कोई मिली भगत का सवाल ही नहीं, बीजेपी में जाने का या बीजेपी का सपोर्ट देना सवाल ही नहीं उठता।
7 साल एलओपी रहा और 7 साल पहले ही वो बने। मैं उनके ऑफिस में एक दफा नहीं गया, एक दफा गया राहुल गांधी के साथ। दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम एंड लास्ट टाइम। मैं उनके ऑफिशियल डिनर, जो ऑफिशियल हेड्स ऑफ स्टेट, एक में नहीं गया।
तो यू हैव नॉट चेंज्ड योर व्यूज अबाउट मोदी जी। ये इसके साथ ये जोड़ा जाता है।
ये तो हमको बदनाम करने के लिए किया ना।
एक और आप पर आरोप लगता है कि आप, कांग्रेस ने आपको इतना दिया, मंत्री बनाया, राज्यसभा दिया, कई पद पर रखा, इसके बावजूद इतनी बड़ी बगावत।
अरे मैंने सीटें दी तब राज्यसभा आया, मैंने राज्यसभा उनसे नहीं लिया। मैंने अभी बताया अंग्रेजी में, कश्मीर से पहला मैंने इलेक्शन लड़ा, 30 सीटें चाहिए थी, हमारे 3 एमएलए थे। 3 एमएलए में मुझे स्टेट में बता दो जरा, ये बना दें सारी पूरी हिंदुस्तान की कांग्रेस मिलाकर 3 सीटों पर एमपी बनाए।
तो आपने अपने खुद के मेहनत पर पार्टी को एज जनरल सेक्रेटरी जिताया चुनाव, और खुद आप जीते। आप
जीते, यस, चीफ। अच्छा, दूसरा मैंने एमपी बना, कांग्रेस के 17 एमएलए थे, 30 चाहिए थे, 13 मैंने खुद लाए। तीसरा चुनाव लड़ा, कांग्रेस के पास 12 थे, मैंने 18 लाए। चीफ मिनिस्टर बना, मुझे पीसीसी प्रेसिडेंट बना, 3 एमएलए थे, तो मैंने 20 जीते और 22 को एसोसिएट बनाया। 3 से 42 और 35 साल से बाद गवर्नमेंट बनाई कांग्रेस की। तो इसमें उनका क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है
सर?
गुलाम नबी का कंट्रीब्यूशन है।
लेकिन ये कहा जाता है गुलाम नबी जी
कि
नहीं, कि अभी पार्टी सत्ता में नहीं है, आप लोग सब सत्ता से लोभी थे, अब आपको संघर्ष करना है, टेक ऑन करना है बीजेपी के लिए, भारत जोड़ो यात्रा पर जाना है राहुल गांधी के साथ, तब आप पार्टी को इस तरह से डिच करते हैं।
भारत जोड़ी से कांग्रेस पार्टी मजबूत होगी। 9 साल से हम जो सजेशन देंगे उसको आप इंप्लीमेंट नहीं करोगे। आप 25 साल से इलेक्शन नहीं करोगे, 25 साल से वर्किंग कमेटी नहीं बनाओगे, 25 साल से इलेक्शन कमेटी नहीं बनाओगे। भारत जोड़ो से क्या होगा? भारत जोड़ो 1948 में जरूरत थी, वो नेहरू की प्रधानमंत्रीशिप ने, सरदार पटेल ने भारत जोड़ दिया। 1 नहीं 3 नहीं आ रहे थे, उसको लड़ाई लड़के लिया हैदराबाद, जूनागढ़ वापस ले लिया, कश्मीर के साथ एक्सेशन किया, तो भारत तब जुड़ा है। आज कोई भी हिंदुस्तान का हिस्सा ससीड नहीं होना चाहता है।
सो टुडे देयर इज नो नीड फॉर भारत जोड़ो,
कांग्रेस जोड़ो।
अब तो कांग्रेस जोड़ो की बात हो। मेरी 2 आखिरी,
बस कांग्रेस जोड़ो। घर तो आग लगी है और सड़कें माप रहे हो।
2 आखिरी सवाल मेरे। एक ये है कि ये जो लड़ाई है ओल्डर जनरेशन और न्यू जनरेशन में है, कि जो न्यू जनरेशन है, राहुल गांधी का जो जनरेशन है, गुलाम नबी तो राजीव गांधी के जनरेशन के।
राहुल गांधी की जनरेशन सब दूसरी पार्टी में भाग गई।
जैसे सिंधिया।
मिसेस सिंधिया कहाँ है आज? जितिन प्रसाद कहाँ है अब? ये हमारे यूपी के आरपीएन सिंह जो जनरल सेक्रेटरी थे, वो कहाँ है? हमारी महिला कांग्रेस ऑल इंडिया प्रेसिडेंट जो थी बंगाल की, सुष्मिता कहाँ है? हाँ। हार्दिक पटेल कहाँ है? इन्होंने लाया। दूसरा भी गुजरात का, वो कहाँ है? अभी ये 4 जो हमारे स्पोक्स पर्सन थी, तमिलनाडु की खुशबू, वो भी कहाँ है? हमारी चतुर्वेदी प्रियंका चंद्रवी, वो कहाँ है?
ये आपका पर्सनल है राहुल गांधी के साथ?
नो, आई हैव ग्रेट, आई विश हिम हैप्पी, हेल्दी, लॉन्ग लाइफ। आई वांट हिम टू बी द हैप्पीएस्ट पर्सन ऑन द वर्ल्ड।
तो आपका प्रॉब्लम उनकी पॉलिटिक्स से है, जिस तरह की पॉलिटिक्स करते हैं वो।
जो एप्टीट्यूड राव साहब को संगठन में था, वही एप्टीट्यूड इनका भी है। एप्टीट्यूड, एटीट्यूड नहीं, एप्टीट्यूड।
कि संगठन से उनको कोई लेना देना
नहीं है। He cannot sit in one place.
He cannot sit in one place. He
He cannot give time. He cannot focus.
Rahul Gandhi cannot focus on one issue.
On organizational rebuilding and all that. ये ठीक है, कहीं बैठना है धरने में बैठा, फोटो ऑफ हो गया और अपॉर्चुनिटी पब्लिक मीटिंग हो गया, भाषण दिया. अरे उससे कहाँ बन. These are monologues. पब्लिक मीटिंग इज ए मोनोलॉग.
आपने ये भी कह दिया कि वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड और पीए पर रिलाई करते हैं.
आपको मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, वो हर कांग्रेस वाले को मालूम है. कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक
हर कांग्रेस वाले को ये मालूम है कि राहुल गांधी सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स और पीए से इंस्ट्रक्शन है. कौन है वो उनसे? नेम देम.
नो, हर चीज मानना, ये छोड़ी नाम करने की जरूरत. राहुल गांधी को मालूम है, जो डिसीजन में है उनको मालूम है और कांग्रेस वालों को मालूम है. पर
सोनिया गांधी को भी मालूम होगा.
डेफिनेटली.
फिर उन्होंने तो राहुल गांधी के नेतृत्व को आगे बढ़ाया है.
और वो उनकी का उसका रिजल्ट तो देख रहे हैं ना.
आखिरी सवाल जो है, क्या आपको लगता है अब समय आ गया है नॉन गांधी को कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष बनना? क्या उससे फर्क पड़ेगा? इलेक्शन अब हो रहे हैं कांग्रेस के.
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा.
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. क्यों? आप तो कहते हैं कि नई लीडरशिप चाहिए. इफ राहुल गांधी इज द प्रॉब्लम, न्यू लीडरशिप, नया लीडर.
हमने कभी नहीं कहा राहुल गांधी से प्रॉब्लम. हमने जब G20 भी नहीं कहा, हमने राहुल गांधी नई प्रेसिडेंट चाहिए, सोनिया गांधी प्रेसिडेंट नहीं चाहिए, हमने कभी नहीं कहा. हमने इलेक्शन कहा था और विजिबल एंड परमानेंट प्रेसिडेंट कहा था, बस.
अब तो हो रहा है, अब इलेक्शन हो रहा है और आप बगावत कर रहे हैं.
वो क्या पता विजिबल कैसे होगा.
कोई व्यक्ति बनाने जा रहा है. अशोक गहलोत की नाम हो रहा है, जो आपके पुराने साथी हैं.
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा है. विजिबल होना चाहिए, नॉट ऑन टेलीविजन. आज केरल में है, परसों तमिलनाडु में, परसों आसाम में है, कभी कश्मीर में है, कभी गांव में है, कभी देहात में है. और इंदिरा गांधी और राजीव गांधी की वजह की तरह 2 बजे ऑफिस में है सुबह के, और 8 बजे फिर लोगों से मिल रहे हैं. वो है विजिबिलिटी.
अब आप क्या?
एंड आई हैव वर्कड विद राजीव गांधी when he was prime minister. I was general secretary, he was president, opposition leader, general secretary. मैं 2 बजे सुबह के उसके घर से निकलता था. 2 बजे सुबह. और पहली मीटिंग सुबह कब होती थी? 8 बजे.
तो यू आर सेइंग राहुल गांधी उस तरह से काम नहीं करते थे जो राजीव गांधी करवाते.
Why are you asking me?
Because you have rebelled.
Because everybody knows. I don't want him to work that. 1/3 at least.
I will ask you therefore, अब क्या करेंगे गुलाम नबी जी? आप कश्मीर जम्मू एंड कश्मीर जाएंगे?
I am not joining any political party. चाहे हमारे कांग्रेस लीडर हमको डिफेम करने के लिए, मार्जिनाइज करने के लिए 20 दफा कहें हम मोदी के दोस्त हैं, हमसे ज्यादा दोस्ती उन लीडरों की है जो मोदी जी के पॉलिटिकल एजेंडे को पूरा कर रहे हैं. कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत, वो मैं पूरा नहीं कर रहा हूं.
जो आप पर आरोप लगा रहे हैं वो कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत बना रहे हैं,
इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं.
दे आर एक्चुअली इम्प्लीमेंटिंग इट. कांग्रेस कमजोर हो गई है पूरे देश में.
मैं थोड़ी कर रहा हूं. जीरो बीजेपी यहां आया, ये क्या कहते हैं, बंगाल में मैं थोड़ी इंचार्ज था. 0 या 1-2 सीट आई थी, मैं थोड़ी इंचार्ज. सो दे शुड अपने गले में झांकना चाहिए who are implementing the Modi's agenda, not गुलाम नबी आजाद. गुलाम नबी आजाद अगर एजेंडा को कहता था तो 9 साल से ये नहीं कहता था ये करो ये करो ये करो, G23 करो, फलां करो, हमको कैंपेन कमेटी में 3 महीने 6 महीने पहले लगो, हम कैंपेन सारी खत्म करते. Then why should I made this effort? Would BJP tell me to do this?
तो दिल में अभी भी कांग्रेस ही है आप?
टोटल आइडियोलॉजी चेंज नहीं हुई. मेरी आइडियोलॉजी 69 जब मैंने बताया उस वक्त फॉर्मुलेट हुई थी.
ये जो निर्णय आपने लिया है बड़े दुख के साथ लिया है,
पीड़ा के साथ. 6 दिन पहले रेजिग्नेशन से बाद और 4 दिन रेजिग्नेशन के बाद भी अभी मैं सोया नहीं.
सोए नहीं हुआ?
2 घंटे 3 घंटे क्या सोना होता.
कोई चांस वापस जाने का
नहीं, क्योंकि वहां कुछ रखा नहीं ना.
कोई रखा नहीं कांग्रेस में.
नो, हम लोगों की जरूरत ही नहीं, एडवाइस की जरूरत नहीं है. जब बच्चे कहें कि हम बालिग हैं, हमको बुजुर्गों की एडवाइस जरूरत नहीं है, तो अकलमंद आदमी है वो घर से निकल के अपना घर बनाए।
आपने सोनिया गांधी से ये सब क्यों नहीं किया? आपकी बड़ी अच्छी रिलेशनशिप थी उनसे। ये सब आपने उनके सामने रखा?
हाउ डू यू नो?
नहीं, मैं पूछ रहा हूं कि ये जितना आप आज मुझे कह रहे हैं, आपने सोनिया गांधी को कहा?
हाउ मेनी सेशंस आई मस्ट हैव? बट शी वाज ऑलवेज नाइस टू मी। I have a great regard. Even Rahul Gandhi was always nice to me as a person, as an individual. I respect him because I have a great respect for her dadi and father, uncle, mother, even as individual for Rahul Gandhi.
फिर भी आपने कहा है remote control model doesn't work of Sonia Gandhi. You have called Rahul Gandhi immature and non-serious.
No, this is in the capacity of a party, running a party.
Critics are saying, including the likes of Jairam Ramesh now, that you have become modified. That you are, all of this has been planned, synchronized along with the Prime Minister who praised you so much last time when you were leaving the Rajya Sabha last year. Ghulam Nabi Azad is batting for the BJP by targeting Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhi family.
I didn't want to waste time on Jairam Ramesh. When I have met him first time, or he has met me, there was another government and there was another minister of that government with whom he was OSD. So I don't buy and I don't want a OSD of another government to advise me because he has nothing to do with the Congress. His job was already, he's getting promotion because of his Twitter and because of computer and laptop. This is how he got promotion. And he was first planting stories about the government, so I know him.
You are talking about the time when he was close to Chandrababu Naidu, among others.
Any damn thing planting stories about Congress. Now he's planting stories against me. Why are you taking him seriously?
You are not scared of Modi or the BJP at all?
Why should I be scared?
Rahul Gandhi's people give the impression that a lot of the older guard are scared because, as I said, they have skeletons in their cupboard.
See, who has the skeletons? You know? Who has the cases against them?
No, they said that this older guard made a lot of money when they were in power. Now when they are out of power, they only want to live off that and they don't want to fight.
Some 2-3 people might have fight. And should I tell you one day who else has been, who have not been minister and made the money? Where was the money that going if some minister was making? Let's not open those areas.
No, you're saying something. You're saying that in a way that money was going towards the family of the Gandhis?
I'm not saying that. I said people should not level allegations. Those who live in glass houses should not throw stones on others.
Ghulam Nabi ji, Congress का कोई future आप कोई future देखते हैं?
I can pray only.
You can only pray.
मैं दुआ कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन कांग्रेस को दुआ की जरूरत नहीं है, दवा की जरूरत।
चलिए, उस नोट पर गुलाम नबी आजाद जी, कांग्रेस को दुआ की जरूरत नहीं है, दवा की जरूरत है। That's a good one liner.
और कांग्रेस को फिजिशियन और सर्जन दोनों की जरूरत है, कंपाउंडर्स की जरूरत नहीं।
कंपाउंडर की जरूरत नहीं। कंपाउंडर्स की जरूरत नहीं। चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच गुलाम नबी आजाद, द रेबल लीडर, कांग्रेस के एक तरह से बगावती लीडर।
रेबल नहीं हमने कहे, हमने हमेशा कहा था
दिल से कांग्रेसी, रिफॉर्मर, दिल से कांग्रेसी जो कांग्रेस को रिफॉर्म करते करते पार्टी छोड़ गए। And you can watch much more of that interview both in English and Hindi on the India Today YouTube channel. In fact, the English interview is about 45 minutes. Lots of stories that Ghulam Nabi Azad has shared. That's on YouTube in our online interview in English and in Hindi. Let's then, in a way, reflect upon what Ghulam Nabi Azad has said. Because what is really the big question? Has the time come for a non-Gandhi to lead the Congress? And importantly, for the Gandhis to exit, as some are suggesting? Are they no longer the glue, the Gandhis that bind the Congress? Is this old guard versus new guard in the Congress? Or is that a simplistic reading of what has happened in the last few days? Joining me now is Praveen Chakravarti of the Congress. He's chairman of the data analytics, and someone close to Rahul Gandhi joins me. Also joining me is Kaushik Deka, executive editor, India Today, who tracks the Congress. Praveen Chakravarti, you may have heard Ghulam Nabi Azad saying, look, don't make this about old generation versus new.
Number of people from the so-called new generation close to Rahul Gandhi have left, the likes of Jyotiraditya Scindia. This is not even personal about Rahul Gandhi, the individual. It's just about his style of leadership, which he says is just not good enough to lift the Congress from the morass it finds itself in. Your response to what you've just heard?
Rajdeep, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad was a big leader of the Congress party. So I am very small to be able to respond to Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad. But all I will say is what I found interesting as when I was listening to the conversation was, as per his argument, all the victories of the party in various elections were because he was general secretary. But whereas when the party began to lose elections, it was all because of one person, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I mean, I think this heads I win, tails you lose argument is a bit too simplistic, and it's quite dishonest to be fair. Now, like I said, Mr. Azad may have whatever complaints he has about the party, about the leadership, and he is free to discuss that, to air them, whatever he chooses to. But for us, for people like us, Ghulam Nabi Azad ji was a very big leader. I have realized that big leaders can also have small minds. If I were to simply ask you and maybe your other panelists, and maybe anybody in the Congress party, or even anybody outside, in the last decade, which year was the best year for the Congress party? Almost everyone would say 2018, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What was 2018 about? 2018 was about Mr. Rahul Gandhi being the leader of the party, where there was new energy, new ideas, new programs, new initiatives, which then led to electoral victories in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. The Congress party won 408 assembly seats in 2018 alone. That was not too long ago. And who was the president back then? So I think we must look at evidence also. It is all easy to throw around opinions masked as, or accusations masked as opinions. Mm-hmm. But the evidence is very clear. And if I ask anybody would say 2018 was the best year for the Congress party. So, like I said, I do not wish to retort or rebut Mr. Mm-hmm. Azad and indulge in wordplay and things like that. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I think he probably should have been a little bit more magnanimous given his stature in public life.
You know, I will press you though. The fact is that since you're saying that, 2018 was the best year for the Congress and it was Rahul Gandhi's year in a way, the fact is 2018 was followed by the debacle of 2019. And then Rahul Gandhi suddenly quits the party. Today, Ghulam Nabi Azad says one of the reasons is Rahul Gandhi went along the country saying Chaudhary chor hai. People didn't buy it. The senior leaders within the Congress didn't buy it. And then they were accused of betrayal. The fact is Rahul Gandhi, Praveen Chakravarti has lost 2 consecutive elections, certainly 2019 under his leadership. You've lost 39 out of 48 state elections in the last 8 years. Is there no introspection? Is there no accountability? Look at what you did in Punjab. You removed a sitting Chief Minister and Captain Amrinder Singh, replaced him with Charanjit Singh Channi, who last heard is sitting in Canada, and Navjot Singh Sidhu, who's in jail. Now, who's accountable for making some of these decisions? I think what Ghulam Nabi Azad was also pointing out is that there is no accountability in this party. There is also power without responsibility.
Rajdeep, I think it is no secret that the Congress party's fortunes are probably at its lowest. Mm-hmm. I don't think that is a secret. I was merely pointing out that it is not just me, anybody. Wouldn't you agree that in the last decade, 2018 was the best year for the party? So I'm just saying, look at what happened in 2018. I think I have no quarrel with you when you say the Congress party has performed badly subsequently in elections. And yes, the organization has been without a full-fledged leadership for the last 3 years. I think those are known facts. I don't think anybody will dispute any of that. Now, as regards to accountability and whether Mr. Azad is right, like I said, I do not want this to be a tutu.
No, forget Azad. No, it's not about Mr. Azad. It's about accountability. You've come from the corporate world. If you continue to go quarter by quarter failing over successive quarters, who's accountable? There are suggestions that have been made from time to time that are simply lying, gathering dust, we are told. The question, therefore, I come back to it. Forget Mr. Azad for a moment. He's not relevant in a sense to the real crisis of the Congress, some would say. The crisis is one of accountability, one of people taking power with responsibility. You cannot outsource leadership, whether in a corporate or in a political party.
Yes, Rajdeep. I don't think we need to raise our voices to make the point that the Congress is not doing very well. I think we can say that even calmly. But the argument that the Congress party has to get full-time leadership and start to rebuild the organization, reconnect with the masses is, I think everyone would accept that. Now, it is in that context, as you very well know, that the party has set out its organizational election schedule. The party will get a president by end of October, as per the process that has been laid out. And there will be a fresh start and a new beginning for the Congress party, hopefully. I don't think it is now time. I think everyone acknowledges that this has not been the best time for the Congress party. I don't think there's any dispute there. Now the question is, that's why I said there is no point in just going back and forth about who is to be blamed and who has to take the blame. Listen, success as many fathers, failure is an orphan, as they say. So where we stand today is we have a clear schedule in front of us. We will have a new leader for the new president for the Congress party, not leader, sorry, but president for the Congress party. And that is hopefully the sign of return of the Congress party along with the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Kaushik Deka, you've heard Praveen Chakravarti suggesting that, look, we don't want to look at the past. We are looking ahead. We are going to hold elections after 20 years. We're going to set our house in order. We don't want to, this is not a blame game. Do you really believe that the Congress is changing in any way, or is Ghulam Nabi Azad right, that the Congress simply is caught in some kind of a status quo where they are just not willing in a way to give up on the Gandhis and at the same time not have a new leadership which is dynamic enough?
We'll know whether Congress is changing or not in a month. By next month, I believe they will have a new president or not, whether Rahul Gandhi returns or not, whether Ashok Gehlot becomes or Mallikarjun Kharge becomes, whosoever it becomes. We'll know that by next month, whether it's the same thing or there will be a change. But before they blame Rahul Gandhi also, the Rahul Gandhi is all powerful in Congress. But why? He quit in 2019. Technically, he should have no power. Why those senior leaders, most of the top leaders, senior leaders couldn't get together and elect one of them as the next president? What they did in 2019, they again persuaded Sonia Gandhi to become the president. Why the top leaders of the Congress who keep blaming the Gandhi family? Of course, Gandhi family has to be accountable. But Gandhi family also derives power from the fact that all the senior leaders try to build their political innings around this family. They have empowered the family. They, even now, if Sonia Gandhi has requested Mr. Ashok Gehlot, he is not willing to take up the responsibility. You will go to other top leaders, they are not willing to take up the responsibilities. And if you look at Congress senior leaders, barring a few, most of them are building their political career on the mercy of the top family. They are not mass leaders, they are not, they don't have organizational strength.
Because, Kaushik, that suits the Gandhis itself, isn't it?
It's a vicious cycle.
But that suits the Gandhis to not...
that willingness to come out of that vicious cycle.
No, but that suits the Gandhis also not to have these strong regional leaders who might tomorrow challenge their leadership. We saw what happened with the Sharad Pawar, Mamata Banerjee in a previous generation. It almost seems, except for Rajshekhar Reddy in the last 25 years, we haven't even seen a strong regional satrap really emerge in the Congress. So my question is, therefore, when the Ghulam Nabi Azads of the world say that, it's time to relook at the way the Congress is structured, are they right? Or are they simply people who benefited from the previous structure? And now, because the party is out of power and the Gandhis are not seen as vote gatherers, they've chosen to split.
You are talking about regional satraps. They are not building regional satraps, and Gandhis want weak leaders. But look at Bhupinder Singh Hooda, look at Ashok Gehlot, look at Kamal Nath. Can Gandhis today dictate these leaders? you say Gandhis are all powerful? They have requested Ashok Gehlot to become the president. That matter should have been resolved that very moment. But Ashok Gehlot is not accepting that request.
Because no one wants power without
In
no
an all-powerful
because you'll never
situation,
because he will be he will see himself as Ghulam Nabi Azad described.
That kind of request, can someone turn it down?
No, that's because Kaushik, they perhaps fear that they will only be figureheads.
That they have to ensure that there are no more figureheads. That's what I'm saying, that Congress top leaders, group of leaders, why they can't sit together and ensure that yes, our party is facing disaster after disaster. If Gandhis are the problem, let's get rid of them and we will build a party. They will have to come up and take responsibilities. But instead, every leader you go to, they will say that, okay, let Gandhis remain at the top, because if I cannot be the top leader, let them be the top leader. At least I will ensure that someone else is not the top leader. So this is the problem.
It's a vicious circle, as Kaushik calls it. Praveen, as a final word, has the Congress got space for a non-Gandhi at all to lead it? Lead it meaning give him the power, give him or her the powers to actually lead it? Or is it that Rahul Gandhi wants to play this role of almost non-executive chairman or non-playing captain, while the older guard is not even pushed into a Margdarshak Mandal like in the BJP? So the Congress at the moment is like a ship in stormy seas without a captain at the helm.
Rajdeep, I think first of all, a lot of what you describe are just plain conjecture and casting aspersions. I don't know if Mr. Gehlot or any of those leaders have come and told you that they do not want power because they fear that they will just be a figurehead. I presume that is just plain conjecture. Now, second, we talk a lot about internal democracy, which I heard. As to the best of my knowledge, there is only one political organization in this entire country that chooses its head from the block level, district level to the all India level through an internal democratic process, and that is the Indian Youth Congress. You can go around and check that. And who created that? That is inside the Congress party, and that was very much the brainchild of Mr. Gandhi over a decade ago. When I got into the party, I heard that the same people actually criticize that internal process heavily. They said, who has internal elections to choose leaders? It should be just chosen and handpicked by the leadership and the high command, is what they would counter the Indian Youth Congress with. Now, I find it quite ironic that the same argument is now being twisted and asked for internal democracy. See, the question is not about Gandhis or non-Gandhis. This is a political party with a long history and an organizational culture. It is for the Congress party to decide who its best leader should be. Okay. If the Congress party's wishes of the best leader are not satisfied, or should the chosen leader not want to assume this responsibility, just like perhaps Sachin Tendulkar did not want the captaincy of the Indian cricket team, then maybe the Congress party will have a process to choose the next leader. And I think that process is very clearly before us. So like Kaushik said, we will know in a month. And until then, you perhaps have every right to be skeptical, but we will certainly know in a month.
Okay, we'll wait and see whether the Congress is ready not just to have a non-Gandhi as a leader, but more importantly to empower that individual to structure the party in a sense, in a manner that perhaps makes it more electable. I'll leave it there, Praveen Chakravarti and Kaushik Deka. The Congress always continues to fascinate in that sense, despite its declining election fortunes, because all of us, I think, want a strong opposition. And the Congress remains a true pan-India brand in that sense. So, Praveen Chakravarti and Kaushik. Okay, Praveen Chakravarti, Kaushik Deka, appreciate your joining us. Now, before we move on to the next story, in that interview, I said it's a long interview. You can watch it on YouTube. There was one punch that Ghulam Nabi Azad threw, which I want you to hear, because it brought out the Khan Market gang analogy. Listen in.
I will request Rahul Gandhi ji, because he never saw the proceedings of Rajya Sabha. No, Rajya Sabha. He saw the proceedings in Lok Sabha, which never worked.
Yes.
Right. Because they were happy to adjourn in the morning only so that they can enjoy and have chakar off this This is some garden which I have been once only in 25 years. There's
Lodi garden.
Lodi garden नहीं यहाँ जहाँ कोई market और Khan market. And so that they were seen afternoon in the Khan market when I was telling my colleagues we are in the parliament, they said all your colleagues. I said they are
so
not.
Rahul Gandhi would get parliament adjourned so that he and others would wander around in Khan market.
Whether Rahul Gandhi would tell them or not, but this was the order of the day.
Right.
And
So there you have it. Khan market gang being used this time by Ghulam Nabi Azad. We leave the Congress to its own devices to fight how it wants to going ahead. Let's move on to the other big story, because in Karnataka, a prominent Lingayat mutt seer is now accused of sexually assaulting minors in the state. Netas across party lines have refused to outrightly condemn the seer. Protests have followed the shocking revelations made today by the highly influential Lingayat seer. Take a look at this other special report.
This is influential Lingayat seer Shivamurthy Murug Sharanaru greeting his supporters, waving and thanking them for their support while facing serious charges of raping minor girls. Brazenly showing off the support he enjoys as cops refuse to arrest him. This pontiff is the chief of one of the most prominent Lingayat mutts in Karnataka and has been clicked with some of the biggest political leaders in the country. Despite the gravity of the allegations against him, he's not been detained or arrested. He's been allowed to sit in his Chitradurga mutt with no action.
ಆ ದಿಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆದರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ಗೌರವಿಸೋಣ. ಆ ದಿಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಮಾನದ ಚಿಲುಮೆಯನ್ನು.
Two students in the Murugamutt School's hostel approached an NGO alleging they were sexually abused in the institution, based on which an FIR was registered against the pontiff and 4 others, including the warden Rashmi. With months to go for elections in Karnataka, the development has rocked the state, with political parties tiptoeing around the controversy, and some openly backing the rape-accused seer.
ಮಠದಲ್ಲಿರೋದೇ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಷಡ್ಯಂತ್ರ ಇದು. ತನಿಖೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸತ್ಯಾಸತ್ಯತೆ ಹೊರಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲದರಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೊರಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಡೀ ನಾಡಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನ ಗೌರವ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Let me not interfere with whatever the police or the government is doing late, because I can't only reply to whatever you are telling. Let me examine it, then I'll come back.
In another twist in this case, the mutt authorities have filed a counter-complaint naming a JDS leader, ex-MLA and former administrator of the mutt, S.K. Basavarajan. The warden, who's been named as an accused in the minor rape case, has alleged that the JDS leader is the one who raped the girls and hence filed a rape and kidnap case.
S.K. Basavarajan ಅವರು ನಿಲಯ ಪಾಲಕರಿಗೆ ಲೈಂಗಿಕವಾಗಿ ದೌರ್ಜನ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ದೂರನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ದೂರಿನ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ ಗ್ರಾಮಾಂತರ ಠಾಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕರಣವನ್ನು ದಾಖಲಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ತನಿಖೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Serious questions have been raised whether police will ensure fair probe when the seer has not been detained or arrested and is still a free bird who can influence the eyewitnesses as well as the victims. Political parties, meanwhile, are guilty of prioritizing their appeasement politics in the state of Karnataka. With journalist Shivu Sagairaj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
Let's turn from there to the horrific murder in Jharkhand that has shaken the collective conscience in a way once again of the country. Ankita, a class 12 student, was set on fire by a stalker, Shahrukh. She died on Sunday. The stalker, Shahrukh Hussain, is now in police custody, but protests have erupted, including politicians joining in, demanding justice for Ankita and the death penalty for Shahrukh. Take a look.
आए होते हैं।
16-year-old Ankita lost her battle for life on Sunday, 5 days after her alleged stalker set her on fire in Dumka. The suspect, Shahrukh Hussain, had been harassing Ankita for days. On the 22nd of August, she got a phone call from Shahrukh around 9 at night. She refused to speak to him. The accused allegedly threatened her with dire consequences. She informed her father, who assured her he will speak to Shahrukh. Hours later, close to 4 in the morning, Shahrukh poured petrol on Ankita through the open window next to her bed when she was fast asleep. He then set her on fire.
This was the window which, according to the parents, according to her father, her sister and the grandfather, was moved and opened by the alleged person who has been arrested, Shahrukh, and petrol was poured on her and then she was lit to fire.
Her family is in shock and are demanding death penalty.
पर जहाँ से भी लेके उसको कॉल किया और फिर उसको बात करने और मिलने के लिए फोर्स करता था, तो ये मना कर दी तो उसको मारने का धमकी दिया था।
क्या सजा आपको लगता है मिलनी चाहिए?
सर उसको फांसी का सजा दिया जाए सर।
Ankita was first admitted in the Dumka Medical College, from where she was taken to the Rajendra Institute of Medical Sciences, Ranchi. All the while, not a single representative from the Hemant Soren government visited them, says the family.
मुख्यमंत्री जो है हेमंत सोरेन अब बसंत सोरेन देखने के लिए तक नहीं आया, दोनों भाई पिकनिक मना रहा है।
हेमंत सोरेन पहले अगर पैसा हमको दे देते हैं तो बेहतर इलाज के लिए हम आज कहीं भी जाते हैं, मेरी बेटी बच जाती।
The police have taken 2 suspects in custody so far.
शाहरुख तो पहला दिन जो 23 तारीख को गिरफ्तार उसकी हुई थी और उसके बाद में छोटू खान उर्फ नईम खान, दोनों जरवाडी के हैं, दोनों को गिरफ्तार करके जेल में। Angry protests erupted across Jharkhand. The BJP has accused the Soren government of appeasement politics, while Chief Minister Hemant Soren has promised speedy justice.
संप्रदाय विशेष के लोग झारखंड में खासकर संथाल परगना में लव जिहादी जो डेमोग्राफी है उसको भी बदलने का काम कर रहे हैं। वो अभियुक्त है, उस पर फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट चलाकर 15 दिन के अंदर उसे फांसी की सजा दी जाए।
पंजाब के और हमारा प्रयास है कि जल्द से जल्द उसको सजा मिले। ऐसी घटनाओं के लिए समाज में कोई जगह नहीं।
Ankita's family is demanding that a fast-track court be set up so that justice can be delivered as soon as possible. With Suryagni Roy in Dumka, Bureau Report, India Today.
Justice for Ankita. What she needs, or her family needs above all else, is swift and exemplary punishment. Let's take a break. On the other side, as India Today starts India starts its Asia Cup journey, beating Pakistan in a cracker of a match in Dubai. Harbhajan Singh tells us what, according to him, is the key for Team India to win the big trophy. On the other side.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth. On the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Welcome back. Let's turn to a bit of happy news. Remember, yesterday India clinched victory against arch rivals Pakistan in their first match of the Asia Cup. Hardik Pandya was the star with his bowling and with the bat, because after India's bowlers restricted to Pakistan for 147, India was in a bit of trouble, losing wickets in the middle, Kohli and Rohit among them, before Hardik and Jadeja turned the show around. But it was Hardik really and his return that everyone is now talking about. And given all that, I spoke a short while ago, earlier today, to Harbhajan Singh, India Today's cricket expert who is in Dubai, and I began by asking him, Harbhajan, would I be right in saying that Hardik Pandya's return, both bowling and batting, is the key factor now for India in white ball cricket? You know, many believe he's now among the best all-rounders we have ever had in limited overs cricket.
Yes, see, he's a big factor. Hardik Pandya, he can bowl, he can bat, and of course he can win you games like he did yesterday. And it's great to have all-rounders in the team, and all-rounders bring a lot on the table. And having Hardik Pandya back, fully fit, with bowling 4 overs and batting the way he's batting, obviously a big plus for Team India. With white ball, he's always going to be a very special player for India going forward.
The concern, though, remains Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli's form at the tops, to some extent KL Rahul too. Do you believe we should at all experiment with an alternate top order?
No, I don't think India need to look at the other sort of alternatives. I think KL and Rohit Sharma is a sort of perfect combination. It's just that they haven't played too much of cricket coming into this tournament, and I'm sure next game against Hong Kong will bring the opportunity for them to spend time in the middle and score those runs and get the mojo right, and I'm sure they're gonna come good. And I don't see India need to change in first 3 that Virat comes, whatever is the lineup now. I think this should be the perfect sort of lineup even for the World Cup going forward.
That was Harbhajan Singh on the match yesterday, speaking from Dubai. Okay, I want to leave you tonight because with my home city of Mumbai, Maximum City, because we are all set for Ganesh Utsav for the first time after 2 years without the threat of COVID. And as a result, the most awaited idol of Lord Ganesh was unveiled today at the famous Lal Bagh Raja Pandal. 2 years forced by the pandemic, no devotees around, but I can promise you they will throng Lal Bagh Raja this year for sure. Ganesh Chaturthi is on Wednesday. Ganpati Bappa Moria in advance. You stay well. May you be blessed by Lord Ganesh. Thanks for watching. Good night. Goodbye. Jai Hind. Namaskar.